too. You got that? Oh, you own it, ain't you? I want you to listen to this. I'm going to tell you what it is. Wherefore the people did argue with Moses. Now Moses led these people out. Man, he turned the water to blood, through the power of God. And there was grasshoppers plagued. There was, man, he did some amazing stuff in the sight of the Egyptians and Pharaoh and all, but they still wanted to argue with him. The people argued with Moses and said, give us water that we can drink. Moses said unto them, why are you arguing with me? Why do you tempt the Lord? And the people thirsted there for water, and the people murmured against Moses and said, is this why you brought us up out of Egypt, to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst? And Moses cried to the Lord, saying, what shall I do unto this people? They be almost ready to stone me. So when you're in leadership, this is where I'm going. If you want to lead, they're going to love you when things are good. But when something goes bad, guess who gets it? They wanted to kill him. There was another place in the Bible where they loved David and they followed him, and they come back to Ziklag, and the enemy came in and stole their families, stole their stuff, and the men got so grieved they wanted to kill David. They wanted to stone David. It happens to leaders, y'all. If you want to be in leadership, I get tickled when people come to me and say, put me in charge. I'm like, all right. You'll probably be the last one I ever put in charge if it's up to me. I love you, but that's not, I'd rather somebody say, oh, I don't know if I can do it. You get overconfident sometimes. And if you get overconfident, you're going to make a mess. Amen? The other day, Ashley was driving. I let Ashley drive. She's got her learners. She's really a good driver. Real good driver. Ashley, I'm bragging on you. But she's real slow. And I said, Ashley, you got to get across the road, baby. When I said, I could get out and lay down and do 10 push-ups maybe and get back in the car, and she'd still be going. Anyway, okay, it's not that bad. But Ashley was real slow, and me and Murray were talking, and I said, you know what? I'm thankful that she's careful instead of overconfident. Because my son, when he started driving, he got his shades on, he adjusted his mirror and hung his arm out the window, son, and boom, he took off. I said, Ronnie, you need to slow down. I got this, man. I got this. I said, watch the road. Don't look at me. And, he was wide open, man, and got him in a lot of trouble. Even lost his operators later in life. But he was overconfident. Somebody say overconfident. So if you want to be in leadership, you need to make sure that God's leading you, and you got to know how to serve. Because that's what you're going to be doing. In leadership, you serve people. It's not a position. You don't get some people want the desk and the name on the desk and the name on the door, and, oh, look at me, I'm a leader. But I promise you, if you want to be a good leader, you've got to learn to serve. Somebody say amen. The Living Translation says it like this. In 2 Samuel 16:5, David and his party passed through Bahurim. A man came out of the village cursing them, and it was Shimei, the son of Gera, the member of Saul's family. He threw stones at the king and the king's officers and all the mighty warriors who surrounded them. He's either stupid, they ain't no other way. That man was dumber than dirt to do something like that, because David's men were bad. They were some of the baddest people in the Bible, man. I'm telling you, one of them could killed a bear and a lion, they just bad, man. They could fight. He threw stones at them. I'm like, man, dude, your lights are on, but nobody's home. Verse 7 says, get out of here, you murderer, you scoundrel. He shouted at David, the Lord is paying you back for murdering King Saul and his family. You stole his throne, and now the Lord has given it to your son Absalom. At least you will taste some of your own medicine, you murderer. So this man, he had an attitude bad. Later on, it cost him his life, y'all. They went and got him for that. But at that time, David's son had took over the castle and was put himself in as king, and David had to run. Did you know that? So David's kids, man, give him a lot of grief, man. So, I'm right in there. I'm sorry, but I had a lot of grief with mine. I loved them. I always loved them. But, man, I told them the other day, they was talking, Eddie, you got some gray hair. I said, most of it's dyed. You can't see it the way it should be. Amen? Murray talked me into that. She said it looked dignified to keep a little gray. I said, you don't. She said, that's different. I said, no, it ain't. But anyway, I said, all those gray hairs, I said, that's the kids, every one of them. Amen. Even as a parent, you have to make some tough decisions, y'all. And many times, kids, it's just, they won't get this. It's the same thing. In your walk with God, especially if you are in any form of leadership, you will eventually have to make decisions that will not be popular with everybody. If you're one of those people that need everybody to stroke the back of your head and tell you what a wonderful job you're doing, you can't be a preacher and you can't be in leadership because everybody ain't going to always like you. And I really felt to go here today. I felt like somebody needs this. You got to make tough decisions. Leaders have to make decisions that everybody ain't going to like. You might have 10 people and 9 of them may love it. One of them's going to get mad at you. And you got to make sure that you're hearing God, and you got to make sure that you don't need their approval, that you are tuned in, you heard God. Because God may tell you something, He may not tell everybody else. There's a place in the Bible where God spoke, I think it was when Saul was threatening the church, the Apostle Paul, before he got transformed there. And it said that God spoke to him, blinded him, and spoke to him. And it said he heard the voice, but the men around him, they heard thunder. Ain't that what it says? And I thought about that. Sometimes God speaks and they hear a noise, but you hear God. And then everybody's like, what's he doing? I heard God. I didn't hear nothing. Well, that's your problem. Maybe you need to turn your frequency up a little bit. You're going to have to trust me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So with my wife and our family and decisions I've had to make, Murray has always stood by me, y'all. She supports me. If I do something that she's questioning, she's not sure about, she'll sit and talk to me. Eddie, are you sure? Are you sure about this? And I'll say, Lord, let Murray have a peace about this. And I said, that'll kind of confirm to me what I need to do. And it works every time. Murray said, you know, I slept on it and I agree with you. You're still crazy, but I'll back you up. That's what she said.